Hello and welcome back to another episode of ZachCenter. This is episode 1 of this new chapter of ZachCenter. Today we're only going to be talking about the MLB and baseball as a whole and everything that's going on in this week and the near future. So to first start off, today is Sunday, July 17th, and the most important day for some people is today when they get drafted into the MLB and get to live out their lifelong dream that they've always had since they were kids. Some maybe started at a young age and always dreamed of playing the pros, and some probably joined a little bit later and given the same opportunity. And it's very important to these kids because, they put a lot of time and effort and they probably dreamed of this. Many kids always want to keep playing a sport or just keep doing something that they enjoy doing, whether that's sports, math, anything in general. Like these kids probably when they started young, they probably wanted to play in high school, and then when they got to high school, they want to play collegiate, or then they wanted to go pros, And today, for many college or high school baseball players, they are going to get that opportunity to continue playing at the highest level that there is. And that is something to be excited for and not take for granted because, as you know, not many people or not many players get that opportunity to continue playing at the highest level possible. And many kids probably have the dream of playing professional sports. It's something that not many people get to do, and it's the coolest thing because you get to do something that you enjoy doing as a kid that you probably didn't think that you can do as not even as a job, because when you enjoy something that much like baseball, and it's that fun because you see it and all the people and all like the professional pros faces game after game, how ecstatic they are. They probably just still feel like a kid out there playing baseball because they enjoy it so much. And I'm happy for everyone that's getting drafted this year, and hope that they can continue playing for a long career in the pros, and that that one day they'll be in the same spot as the players on Tuesday and Monday will be in the All Star game and All Star Break. So the next topic of discussion we're going to be going over is the All Star Break. And the All Star Break in the MLB means that the first half of the season's over. Where teams are getting, if you're a younger team, you don't have that much, you need that first half of the season to get going. Some teams take longer to get going. Some teams just start off hot. And that was the first half of the season. And with All-Star Break here, that means that the second half of the season's coming up. And that means it's either the end for some or the most intense games or just series that they will be playing in the postseason. And you got your favorites, like in the National League, you got the Dodgers have been a favorite for the World Series title and just being in the World Series for the past couple of years, as they've had probably the best team in baseball. You got the Mets and the Braves battling out in the Eastern, or not the Eastern, but in like the National League Atlantic Division. They are going to be battling to see who gets that division title. The Braves, they got it the past 2 years in a row. 2 years ago they lost to the Dodgers in the championship series, and then last year they won it all. And so it'll be interesting to see what goes on. As the Mets, they have a good 1-2 at their aces. They got Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. They got some electrifying players out there with Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and so we'll see. And in the American League, we obviously got the heavy favorites, the Yankees. The Bronx Bombers. You got Aaron Judge, who's leading the league in home runs. You got Giancarlo Stanton with unbelievable power. You got Garrett Cole, who has shown no signs of slowing down. They're probably the best. They're probably the best team in MLB this year, hands down. They're the first team to get all these wins, and so it'll be interesting to see what goes on in the postseason. And so, as All Star Break is happening, teams start to look towards that end season goal of hoisting the World Series trophy. And as I said, like Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso, two great power hitters. And that goes into our next topic, which is the home run derby. In this year's home run derby will be an interesting to watch because the league leader of home runs is not going to be participating, Aaron Judge, which is understandable. He has done it before. He has won it. But one thing to know is that why many players don't do home run derbies is due to the fact that pitchers will watch and see the sweet spot of those hitters. And then in that second half of the season, the most important half, they'll try not to throw a ball in that said sweet spot. So their home run total or just their batting average in general just starts to decrease. And you've seen that with many players, And so I'll give it to Aaron Judge to not be participating. Shohei Ohtani, another fan favorite that people want to see participate, will not be participating in the home run derby. And Bryce Harper will be participating, but I think due to, and recently I saw, or not recently, but probably a couple weeks ago, I saw that Bryce Harper did go out with an injury, so that could be playing a factor in why he won't be participating in this year's home run derby. And so we'll see what goes on and hope for the best, And so players that are be participating is Kyle Schwarber, who's second with the most home runs at 28, or the last time I checked, 28. You got Pete Alonso, the back-to-back championship, going for that three-peat. You got Corey Seager, probably a sleeper, but his swing is so short and compact and doesn't take so much energy. Probably put him up there at the 3 spot. You got Juan Soto, who's a great power hitting lefty for the Washington Nationals. And as we'll go into more about Juan Soto later, you got Jose Ramirez, another power hitter, bigger guy like Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber. Just bigger guys that generate more power from bat to the ball with hip rotation, just brute strength and size. Then you got people like Ronald Acuna Jr. and like Julio Rodriguez also participating, who like Ronald Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, Corey Seager, and I'll throw Juan Soto. But Ronald Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, and Corey Seager are thinner framed players. But as you've seen, Ronald Acuna generates so much power that I honestly think it sucks. But I think Ronald Acuna, it has the toughest matchup. He has to go against Pete Alonso, and me personally, I would have Pete Alonso versus probably Juan Soto in the finals. And I think Corey Seager beats Julio Rodriguez, and I think Juan Soto obviously going to the finals, and I think Kyle Schwarber beats Albert Pujols. But, Albert Pujols is doing it. This possibly, most likely, is in his last season in the MLB. And, one of the greatest power hitters out there, probably of all time. He has does some damage in the home run category, extra base hits. He played for the Dodgers last year, and he went to the Cardinals at the beginning of the season, and we all kind of knew why. Because he wanted to finish where he started, which was at the Cardinal. And him and Miguel Cabrera, well, they're probably done after this MLB season. Some of the greatest hitters play in the league, but go back to the home run derby. I definitely think it'll be a Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, and I'm pretty sure Pete Alonso will win another home run derby trophy, just due to his swing and just the fact that he's done it before, and the person that he's probably got the easiest way to the finals due to just the size comparison, but you never know. And so, but many of these guys participating will also, not many, but most of these guys that participate in the home run derby will most likely participate in the All Star game, which is the next day. And going into that All Star game, we're going to talk about the players that made it and the players that many people thought that should have made it. Just starting off about the players who made it. Let's start off with the American League elected starters. At catcher, they got Alejandro Kirk from Toronto Blue Jays. At first base, they got Vlad Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays. Second base, they have Jose Altuve, but will not be able to play due to injury. Third base, they got Rafael Devers from the Red Sox. Shortstop, Tim Anderson from the White Sox. Aaron Judge from the Yankees. Mike Trout, who will also not be participating due to injury. And Giancarlo Stanton from the Yankees. And at DH, they got Shohei Ohtani. So this year, which is very interesting, was that the MLB commissioner used his 2 legacy selections, which no matter where the 2 players or 1 player ended up in the voting category for the All Star game, these 2 players automatically get to go, which is Miguel Cabrera from the Tigers and Albert Pujols from the Cardinals. And everybody knows why. Most people should know that the reason why these 2 were selected was due to their status of probably most likely retiring after the end of the season. And so, being 2 of the most impactful players of this generation from the 2000s to now, these guys are definitely Hall of Famers, and was happy to have seen them play in their career. And so, going on to the pitchers for the American League, you got Shane McClanahan from the Tampa Bay Rays. You got Justin Verlander from the Astros, who will not be participating due to injury. You got Alek Manoah from the Blue Jays, Nestor Cortez from the Yankees, Garrett Cole from the Yankees, but will not be participating. You got Shohei Ohtani, who everybody wants to see. Paul Blackburn from the A's, Martin Perez from the Rangers, and Framber Valdez from the Astros. Going on to the National League, we got catcher Wilson Contreras from the Cubs, Paul Goldschmidt from the Cardinals, Jazz Chisholm from Miami, but will not be participating, but he is probably the most exciting player to watch right now for the Miami Marlins. Everyone there is excited to see what he can do for the Marlins and hopefully bring the franchise back up. Third base, Manny Machado from the Padres. Shortstop is Trey Turner. Outfield's Ronald Acuna Jr. From the Braves, Jock Peterson, Mookie Betts, and Bryce Harper, but obviously will not be participating. And their legacy selection is Albert Pujols. Their pitchers are Sandy Alcantara from Miami, Corbin Burns, who will not participate, Joe Musgrove from the Padres, Max Fried, who will not participate, Tony Gonsolin, Luis Castillo, Clayton Kershaw, Carlos Rodon from the Giants, who will not participate, Tyler Anderson, and Miles Nicolas, who both were both named as replacements. And that is it, it's interesting to see because it gets voted on the um, by the fans to see who the starters are for the All-Star game. And, you know, many thought that, especially in the National League, many thought that, that Dansby Swanson, the shortstop for the Braves, who is having a great season, should be starting over Trey Turner. Many don't think that Giancarlo Stanton should be out there. Then that he's just only out there due to the fact that of the team that he's on, and that has to play. But that plays a lot because the better that your team is, the more people are watching, the more people know who you are, the more votes you're probably gonna get. So that plays into a major effect on how these rosters get selected. Just because you gotta bring that. And I think as a Yankee or as a Dodger, it's a lot easier to get selected to play because you're usually the top two best teams recently, and everybody wants to see you guys play because you're the most electrifying players out there. Not in your position, but like the most electrifying team. So you guys gotta be good, and so that's why they get selected to start. And so, and I know a lot of Dodgers feel that a lot of Dodger fans feel that Freddie Freeman and Will Smith should be starting, but they're not. But I definitely think that Paul Goldschmidt and Rosen Contreras are the better picks, just due to the fact that, Freddie Freeman and Will Smith are having good seasons. Paul Goldschmidt and Rosen Contreras are having a much better season in general, overall statistics wise. And this year it is taking place in LA, Dodger Stadium. I'm excited to see it be happening in Dodger Stadium as a Dodger fan himself. It brings a different aspect because it's not happen. It's like having it happen in New York. New York and LA are just two different cities that there's nowhere else that can compare to. Like Miami, LA, and New York. Those three cities, we have a big event happen there. There's just nowhere else that you can compare it to because they just have so many people there and it brings so many eyes. And since it's during the summer, people travel there because they're popular travel destinations, and it's fun to go to those cities. So, they got like the red carpet out, not red carpet, but like that carpet before the players take the field, and like they're just walking to the All Star game or home run derby. And so, that's the All Star game. As a Dodger fan, I hope the National League wins. American League usually wins due to the fact that they usually have better pitching than the National League. But we'll see what goes on, and I hope and look forward to an exciting All Star break with a great home run derby and All Star game. And obviously, they had the Celebrity All Star game yesterday on Saturday, July 16th. But for it to be happening in Hollywood and LA, there were many people or many participants that I was like, oh, that's super cool that they have them. You wouldn't expect it, but clearly, like, I was expecting a lot more bigger name people, especially since it's happening in LA and Hollywood. And that is all that we have to discuss. The last topic is the new chapter of ZachCenter and what to expect as I'm coming back into uploading more uploading the sports podcast and talking about sports on the daily. But before I do that, the last thing I want to talk about is Juan Soto. Juan Soto, or I should say, the Washington Nationals recently offered Juan Soto 15 years, $440 million, which would be the biggest contract in MLB history. but he did not accept it. And many people probably know why, that the Nationals aren't the best franchise to, because 15 years is a lot of years. That's almost an entire career just in one franchise. And if you're looking at the Nationals now, as they gave Trey Turner and Max Scherzer to the Dodgers, but now Scherzer's on the Mets, that the Nationals are in a real rebuild mode, and Juan Soto, being a young star, probably wants to win a championship before he settles down somewhere. So, and then after he declined that that contract, the Nationals immediately started looking for trades because they realized that he doesn't want to be there for that long, or he doesn't want to stay no more. And since you're entering a rebuild, you want to see how much you can get out of him, which is a lot because he's a high-profile player. So it'll be interesting to see in the next upcoming weeks. Probably won't happen due to All Star Break and the trade deadline, but we'll see what goes on with Juan Soto and his ventures of finding a new team. I hope he comes to the Dodgers. Create a unstoppable force in LA, like we usually do. We got the money, we'll just buy players, like everyone says that we do. But yeah, but going back to the new chapter of ZachCenter, what you should expect is hopefully 3 to 4 podcasts, sports talking a week, one for each sport. So baseball, basketball, football. And a fourth one would happen if there's anything major that happens in another sport or just in all 3 sports combined, like a kind of like a recap of the week. And the 3 should be out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the third one, or the fourth one I should say, should be either Saturday or Sunday. But that's what you should expect in this next chapter of ZachCenter. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day from whenever time you're watching it. And this is ZachCenter episode 1, and we're out. Peace.